Black Panther was a full circle moment because making those costumes required that I pull in everything I have ever done.
The last one I think is like the most, I think it's the coolest one of all. So you have your fashion degree and your interest or your experience in fashion, and you're wondering what else can I do other than designing and creating garments. So in this video we'll be discussing careers you can use your fashion skills in that does not involve creating ready-to-wear, made-to-order garments. And I hope you can join me all the way to the end of the video. Not that you asked, but it's cold in Maryland, so I hope you don't mind me being in my nice cozy sweater. So for the first one is fashion buyer. What is a fashion buyer? A fashion buyer is a person who goes to designers, the different designers, to buy collections sometimes, or you can buy particular designs for stores. So big stores like LC Waikiki, these brands hire people to visit different designers and buy specific designs for their collection for that season. So a fashion buyer is something that is coming up in Africa, that is a little bit on the newer side in the African fashion space, but there are very many African design houses and African fashion designers that are coming up, that being a fashion buyer can set you up for the longevity in this African fashion space. The second career that you can venture into as, you know, a person who likes fashion or have experience or have even a fashion design degree is being a fashion stylist. So the very first person that comes to mind is Brian Babu. He is a Kenyan stylist and he styles the stars in Kenya. So if you're familiar with Sauti Sol, Babu is their primary stylist for the most part. And you can tell the difference when they're being styled by Babu and when they're styling themselves, because there was a little bit of a, I want to say, internet not scandal, kivumbi, what was that? Anyway, there was one time when they did not work with Babu. This is the story. They worked with somebody else, or they styled themselves, and they were ridiculed because the clothes looked like they were mosquito nets. Anyway, I'll just insert a little picture here to explain what I mean. So especially for people who are in the public eye, having a stylist can be very important to maintain that public image, because these people want to make sure their branding and what they give off visually is in sync. Being a stylist to the stars, or being a stylist, you can start from, you know, styling your friends, styling your local celebrity, and grow from there. But being a fashion stylist is one of those careers that are up and coming in the African fashion space. Graphic design and textile design. These are the people who design the prints, who come up with the prints that go on the fabrics that we so much love and adore. In the coming years, as more and more interest with native African creations, and I'm not talking about Dutch Hollandaise or any of those, there will be an interest and there will be opportunity in this space, because they're looking for designers who are African to design for Africans. So if you have an interest or skill or experience in web design, in graphic design, and in textile, you should definitely look into this career. I also have a video lined up with a designer, with a textile designer. I will pin somewhere here and you guys can see it in the future. Fourth career that you can look into or get into to set yourself up for the future of fashion in Africa. Image consultants evaluate, they upgrade, they modify, they work to improve their overall communication, sometimes even behaviors. So Where a stylist can just give you clothes to wear, an image consultant works to improve and change even your behavior so that you walk and talk in a certain way. So if you have a fashion degree, if you have fashion interest and experience, but also have some strategic experience and interest, this would be the perfect one for you. The last one, I think, is like the most, I think it's the coolest one of all. Number 5 is film, theater, and TV costume design. A good example I want to use is the new Black Panther movie. The costume designer there, her name is Ruth E. Carter. She traveled to Africa, and then she was inspired by the different tribes and communities that are native to Africa to create costumes for a Hollywood movie.
Before Black Panther was even released in 2018, the fashion in the film sparked an obsession all over social media. The woman who lit the flame? Creator and legendary costume designer Ruth E. Carter.
She really is the blueprint for a lot of other Black costume designers.
For over 30 years, Carter has designed costumes for such films as Selma.
What happens when a man stands up, says enough is enough?
Amistad.
I will call into the past and beg my ancestors to come and help me.
And Malcolm X.
This is who you are. Beautiful. Your beautiful black self with pride and dignity.
Black Panther was a full circle moment because making those costumes required that I pull in everything I have ever done.
I was inspired by Ruth E. Carter because her costume designs made me think about our own film industry and the opportunity that's there. The film industry in, for example, Nollywood, if you look at how they play these traditional roles, if they want to depict village life, sometimes, I think most of the times, they really don't use authentic African fabrics. They use fabrics that are bought from, they're imported from somewhere because they are more affordable and they're cheaper. So maybe we as Africans, we can start thinking about how we can work together with such industries like the film industry, not only to improve our image out there, but also improve the industries within our own borders. So if the film industry say we want to create an authentic period time piece depicting traditional life in Nigeria, then maybe we should try and include fashion designers in creating and researching what fabrics they might have used, how they might have looked. This is where I think the opportunity is, because as Africans, as we are creating content for ourselves, as we are telling our own stories, I think it's important for us to tell stories in an authentic way, which includes the costuming, what people may have looked like and how they may have dressed in those narratives, in those stories. Seeing Hollywood come to Africa, actually trying to be authentic to the storytelling is very encouraging, and I want to encourage our local film industry musicians, our local artists to try and incorporate our cultural and traditional fabrics, fibers. I know that some of them are hard to work with, some of them can be very labor intensive and expensive. There is a detriment in relying so much on other people's narratives to tell our own story, to say, I feel like I have attained a certain status, but I can only feel that way if I buy a foreign thing. Whereas there are local, native, sustainable, locally sourced fashion that we can buy and promote that will say the exact same thing. Because this is a wake-up call for Africans to start appreciating our own creations. We are basically consumers of other people's creations, sending money abroad instead of consuming things that are made by our own people who understand what we are trying to project out there. Those are the careers that I think will be coming in the front in the African fashion space in the coming future. If you're interested in being within this African fashion space, then I would definitely look into them. If you found value in this video, please don't forget to do the thing. Punch the subscribe, like, share. Until next time, bye.